Hi everyone, today's tutorial is going to be setting up working drawings. So I have already created this simple rectangular building with exterior walls, floor levels and roof. So just as a quick introduction, as soon as you open a file, you always have the properties and the project browser right there. But just in case if you lose one of them, one day accidentally, let's say I don't have the project browser anymore, you can always go back to the view tab right here. Under user interface, click on the project browser and you get it back. So by default, under the project browser, you always have the floor plans for level 1 and 2, the ceiling plans for level 1 and 2, the 3D views, the elevations, and etc. As you can see, I have more than 2 levels in my drawing at the moment, which means that Revit does not update the floor levels automatically whenever I add some. So I have to go back and add them manually now. You go to the View tab, you click on Plan Views. Under Plan Views, there is the floor plans. You click on it and these are all the levels that are not existing under the project browser at the moment. So if I click OK, you're gonna get all of them. So starting with, I'm gonna go back to level 2 and I'm gonna add some architectural elements just to add more information on the project browser. I'm gonna add some grids, some columns, walls and ceilings. I'm gonna go to the architecture tab. There is grid under that tab. You click on it and I'm gonna draw some very quick random grids. So now I have very quick random grids. You can move any of them if you don't like them just by typing MV or by clicking this move icon. And you can always change this the bubble on either side. If you uncheck this box right there, you uncheck it back on this side, you can get it on the right side. I personally like it on my left side, so I'm gonna click that box again. So now we have the grids. I'm gonna add the columns on those grids. Also under the architecture tab, you have columns. There are 2 types of columns, the architectural column and the structural column. The architectural column is just a wrap and is usually replaced by the structural engineer. But the structural column is actually holding the building itself. So now I'm gonna use just the architectural column because I'm not sure about my columns. So I'm gonna put them at the intersections of those axes. I'm gonna put some on the corner of the building as well, so you can see that it merges with the walls automatically. Okay, so now I have columns, I have my grids. Let's say I decide to move my grids. If I click on this grid and type MV, see that you realize that the columns are actually moving with the grid. This is because if you select the columns, you see that under properties, under constraints, there is something called moves with grid, and that box is checked, which means that the columns are actually moving with the grids whenever you add them. They're attached together. But if you uncheck that box and move the grid now again, the columns are not going to move with the grid. So I'm going to go back. Now I'm going to add the walls. Under architecture tab again, I'm going to add I'm going to change the material of my wall just to have it more detailed. I'm gonna talk about these elements more in detail in the next tutorial. This is just a quick introduction for the project browser and how you can set up your project. So I'm drawing some very quick stuff here. Now I have 3 rooms. What I want to do in these rooms, I want to add ceilings to these rooms so we can add some ceiling plans. If under architecture tab again, there is something called ceiling. You click on it And there are two types of ceilings. One of them is called automatic ceiling, the other one is sketch ceiling. The automatic ceiling, it snaps automatically on to a closed room, but the sketch ceiling, you can draw anywhere you want it. If you don't have a closed room, for example, or you wanted some random other shape than the room shape itself. Right now I'm gonna use the automatic ceiling. I'm gonna click on it, on these rooms. It's giving me an error because I'm not on the ceiling plan. It's telling me that you're on the floor plans, which you cannot see what you're drawing, but that's fine right now. But if I go to ceiling plans, level 2, you see the ceiling that I just drew. And as you can see, we don't have the levels for all the ceiling plans. Again, just like the way we did for floor plans, you go to the View tab, you click on Plan Views, Reflected Ceiling Plan, and these are all the plans that are not under the project browser, but now they're coming. It's gonna take a while. Okay, so now we have all the ceiling plans for all the levels. I'm gonna go back to level 2 in the floor plans. Now I'm gonna add the rooms. So the rooms are going to help you with keeping track on the surface area of your building. So again, under Architecture tab, there is something called Room. You click on it and it's gonna snap the rooms. And in this case, when you click on it again, and remember that the tab always helps you to find what you want. Let's say I want to click on the grid or on the column. You can keep on pressing tab until you select what you want. I'm gonna click on this room, and you can see that it's giving me the area, the perimeter, and so many other details. Now I'm gonna go to elevations. You can see that under elevations we already have the east elevation, the north and south and west. But remember that you can add as much elevations as you need. So under View tab, you click on it, and there are two types of elevations. One of them is elevation and the other one is framing elevation. The framing elevation is mostly used for interior elevations, and the elevation is mostly used for building exterior elevations. So now right now I'm gonna add some interior elevations. I added one here. I'm gonna add another one, which is an exterior elevation, which I don't really have to because I already have one there, but I'm just adding some. Remember that you can add as much views as you want from this little box right there. If you click on it, you can have 4 elevations from one box. You don't have to add 4 boxes if they're in the same position that you want. So I'm gonna check this little box there. From the same box here, I can have 2 elevations. So see that it automatically updated, and now I have elevations, interior elevations, and I have other elevations that are the exterior ones, which I can rename them by right clicking on it and rename. You can name it anywhere, anything you want. Let's say double elevation. So now going to the sections, I'm gonna go back to the View tab right there. You see the section right here. You click on it. I'm gonna draw a section through the building, and it's gonna add right away. This was not there before, if you remember. It stopped at elevation. Now we have additional stuff. We have elevations for interior, we have sections. So if I go to the section, to my section, I'm gonna see all the stuff that I drew. This is the ceiling. These are the walls that I added, and you can also click on the room from the section. It's not only on the plan. So in this section, I'm gonna show you how you can add a detailed drawing on this section. So there is also under View tab, there is something called Call Out. If you click on Call Out, and let's say you have your detail section on this wall, I'm gonna draw this box around it. You can see that it added a section called section 1 call out 1. If I double click on that one, you can see that I have a zoomed in section which I can add as much details as you want, and usually the details that you're gonna add to are from annotation tab, and this is where you're gonna add your detail drawing by detail line or by region, component. We're gonna talk about this in a different in a different tutorial, but right now, if you, in case you wanna have you want to do this drawing a halftone, since you're gonna add more elements on it, what you can do is click on, let's say I'm gonna click on this wall and make it halftone. I can right click on it, and there is something called override graphics in view. Click on by element and click on halftone and click OK. Now you have the wall halftone, and remember, you can always change the line weight if you don't like it as much as you want by changing the scale. So now we have covered the detail drawings as well. I'm gonna go to 3D views. The 3D views, you can go to the 3D view either by this box right there or by double clicking on the 3D view. So we only have one 3D view now, but let's say I want to add more views to my drawings. I'm gonna go to the side plan and add cameras, which means I'm adding more views. I'm gonna go under view tab, and under 3D view I'm gonna draw a really quick view right there. Now I have a view of the corner of the building, but you can add as much as you want, and always remember that you can duplicate this view. You can always duplicate any view you have in the project browser. I'm gonna duplicate this one by right-clicking on it and duplicate view. There are two types of duplicate. Duplicate with detail and duplicate. Duplicate with detail means anything you have added which is 2D is detail. So if you added some lines from the annotation, well, I cannot do it right now because I'm in the view, but if you add some lines, detail lines, this is what detail means. I'm just gonna duplicate it now, duplicate normal, because I don't have any detailing on it. So I have two views of that, and you can always edit the second one. It doesn't really have to be the way it is. You can always make it bigger or make the view extended towards the outside, etc. I can also duplicate any of this. Let's say I'm gonna duplicate level 1. I right click on it, duplicate. This is very helpful if, let's say, like, this is the simplest example, if you have one colorful plan and one black and white plan, let's say. Okay, so we covered the views. Now we're gonna go to sheets. So the sheets are already there, but there is nothing inside this sheet. So basically the sheet is a family. A template of a sheet is a family. So I'm gonna open a new family, open, family, and it's in the title block usually. I'm gonna use this one, which is a copy. I'm gonna open it. And I have already edited this one before, but remember it always comes with so many information that you might not need at the moment. So you can delete as much stuff as you want, or you can add as much elements as you want. Let's say I want to delete the date. I don't want the date on every page because I already have it here. This is usually very helpful if you're modifying the drawing. Every time you write the date here, on what date it was modified. So I'm gonna load this family into my project, load into project. Okay, so right now the sheet is there, but I can't see it. So you go to the view tab, there is something called sheet. You click on it, and this is the sheet that I have just added. You click OK, and now we have the sheet on which is under the sheets right there. This is the sheet that I am on, but it's empty. But you can add as much information as you want. I'm gonna put this detail section in this template. I can drag it, take it to the page, and here you go. We have the detail drawing on this template. I'm gonna add also, let's say I'm gonna add the section. Remember, if you already have one of those drawings on a template, it's not gonna let you have it on 2 sheets. So if you want to have the same drawing on 2 pages, you have to duplicate the drawing always. You cannot have the same one on 2 sheets. And this is the tutorial for today. I hope you learned something new. Thank you.